Are you familiar with Gödel's loophole?
No.
Okay, so this is the idea that the famous Austrian mathematician Kurt Gödel,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
right, who supposedly told friends that he had studied the U.S. Constitution and discovered the loophole whereby a president could become a dictator. And the story goes that, he found it, but essentially he knew what it was, but no one else knew what it was, and the secret died with him. And listening to you describe these scenarios, it does sound a little bit like Gödel's loophole, right? Where essentially the president can do whatever he wants as long as he manages to remove his enemies to foreign soil, right?
Yep.
To the extent that this is a suddenly discovered loophole, what would be the remedy for it?
So let me back up. So much of our law depends on a presumption of regularity in the presidency. It depends on the courts thinking that they can trust the president to comply with orders and to be honest and truthful in court and the like. If we got to that situation, the court would have to impose more and more extreme remedies, ordering the government in more and more extreme ways not to take steps to send anyone out of the country. They would just have to enjoin the various agencies, and you'd have to get the right kind of case and the right kind of plaintiffs and maybe the right kind of class action, and it might be tricky. But there could be forms of ex ante injunctions. But again, this is back to the earlier conversation. If the president defies the injunction and just does it anyway, then the court has not many tools.
So this would be a case where if this practice continued, you would need congressional legislation basically saying we are imposing penalties for removing American citizens from the country without trial.
But then that gets us to our conversation about whether they're going to enforce the law.
Right.
But I mean, it's extremely hard to predict how these things are going to work out because we haven't had this before. So I think the only hope is that the court issues increasingly stringent injunctions preventing this ex ante, and that the administration complies. But ultimately, this is only going to work if there's public consensus and pressure behind this. I've seen conservatives, especially libertarian conservatives, not liking whisking people away and not get without due process illegally, which is what they've been doing. So I just can't emphasize enough that the court can be wise and prudent in crafting remedies to try to constrain the president. But if you have a president that is willfully engaging in bad faith and complying with those remedies, the court ultimately only has whatever support the country will give it through the political process.